You must remember this, a kiss is still a kiss. A sigh is just a sigh. The fundamental things apply as time goes by.
Welcome back, everybody. It's the, we don't have a name for this podcast yet,
Nope.
Ari.
No, we don't.
Did you think of any for me during your week away? Hi, everybody. No. I'm James Quinn, and this is Ari Mannis.
Yep, and that's your responsibility.
Tech guy on my new podcast here at Sal's Comedy Hole, broadcasting live to tape from Sal's Comedy Hole.
That's right.
On beautiful Melrose Boulevard, or Avenue.
Avenue, yeah.
Beautiful Melrose Avenue in Hollywood, California. We're going to be doing comedy shows here all March. We're starting in March, and from now on, we're the fourth club in town. Am I right, Ari?
Oh, absolutely.
There's what is it? The Comedy Store, there's the Improv, there's the Laugh Factory, and now?
And now, Sal's Comedy Hole.
Sal's Comedy Hole. Fantastic. So what do we call our podcast? Because we can't call it Sal's Comedy Hole Podcast.
Why not?
I don't know. That sounds kind of cheap.
I think it might get more listeners if we call it that.
All right, so welcome back to the Sal's Comedy Hole Podcast, everybody. I'm James Quinn. I'm going to be broadcasting to you from this dark and empty room. Is the echo, Ari, is there too much echo?
There is echo, but I think it's good enough.
If you want to imagine, Ari, while you're there at home, and you have some familiarity with the 70s sitcom Welcome Back, Kotter, which guy do you look like from Welcome Back, Kotter?
I don't have familiarity with that television show.
Okay. He looks like the most Jewish one on Welcome Back, Kotter. The kid that always volunteered for everything. That says, "Oh, Mr. Kotter, Mr. Kotter." That kid. He just died recently, so I feel bad.
I think if anyone's listening to this, they already know who I am because I'm a big deal.
I don't think you are. You're the creator of a website, right? Let's.
I'm a stand-up comedian. That's how most people know me.
Oh, you're a stand-up comedian. I didn't know that.
Secondly,
and I run a comedy room here in Hollywood. I haven't seen you. Where do you perform?
I perform at, most commonly, the Good Time Comedy Club on Hollywood Boulevard.
Yeah, I like that. Where is that? Is it above Hooters?
It's above Hooters.
And it's got its own name?
The Good Time Comedy Club.
Is it a room inside of Hooters?
You
have to walk into Hooters to get to the Good Time Comedy
You do,
Club.
Yes.
All right, I just wanted to make sure that you were talking about
It's an excellent room. I also am performing on the 23rd at the Comedy Store.
Wow, on the main stage?
On the Belly Room. It's a nice little intimate venue.
That's where I did my first
top.
time doing in the Belly Room of the Comedy Store.
I've done the main room.
That's
I've
where
done
I
the
lost
OR.
my stand-up virginity.
Okay, nice.
It was scary. You should, like a lot of people that start comedy, they really should think, maybe I should do it at an open mic for the first time ever. Maybe I should. And I did it on a show at the Comedy Store Belly Room. My name is James Quinn, by the way.
I actually think it's smart to do what you did because then you have an audience the first time. So then if you bomb, you know you suck even more.
No, I bombed.
Yeah.
I bombed mercifully my first time. Horribly. I was totally misconceived on what comedy. It's like you have to learn what comedy is before you actually start doing it well. And so I've got like another 2 or 3 years of learning to do before I do it really well.
Yeah.
How many years of learning do you think you have there, Ari?
How long till I do it well?
Till you do it well, yeah.
It all depends. Sometimes I do it well. Most of the time I don't. So I'll give it another 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
I
and
should
then you're
be
quitting
good.
if you're not doing it well by 2 weeks, right? Do I have your...
I'm too good to quit, I'm too talented. I have too much natural talent.
What noise are we hearing? Is someone doing the dishes here in Sal's Comedy Hall? Someone vacuuming?
Someone is doing something.
I like it. I think it's a good undercurrent. It's kind of like in like a war movie where the tanks are coming up the street and the soldiers are still having that conversation before it starts. I like it. I like it a lot.
I love it.
All right. Well, you've thoroughly bored me, and I hope the people at home are still listening because we have a guest, Ari. I don't mean to pick on you the whole time.
Yeah, I was going to say I didn't realize my role here was to be picked on, but I'll take it. So let's bring on the guest.
All right, Ari, I'm going to introduce the guest. And at home later, what would be fun is if you edited in like some music at the front there.
Oh, absolutely.
Like 30 seconds of music.
You have to pick the music, though.
Okay.
Yeah.
As time goes by from the movie Casablanca, can you do that?
Yeah.
Oh, good. It's a good old song. Ladies and gentlemen, at the Sal's Comedy Hole podcast, I'd like to welcome our very first guest on our very first ever podcast, Mr. Demar Randy. Everyone, hey Demar.
What's up, man?
You can find him at Demar Randy Show on Twitter.
Oh yeah, you can. I've spent a lot of time there.
Demar, how long you been doing comedy? And this is on the record.
Am I giving the professional answer or the?
Is that a boring first question? Should I pretend I don't know you, or should I?
Yeah,
say
pretend
that
you don't know me because they don't.
Okay. Well, how long have you been doing comedy, Demar?
That depends. Like, cause I could answer that in the Hollywood version or the what I tell normal people.
What do you tell normal people?
I tell normal people maybe like 4 years, but technically. I don't consider myself a real comedian until I'm in this shit every day. So really about 2 years.
Right. When you start,
when you do it every day, that's when your lifestyle becomes a comedian, that's when you're a comedian. When you're still dipping in and out of it, you're not really a comedian.
When you're doing bringer shows once a week and open mics once a week, you're not a comedian.
Yeah, you're not a comedian.
Yeah.
You're somebody that's trying to be funny.
That's true.
Is it true, Ari? The things that he says?
I agree.
Yeah, you're not.
You're a fun guy. I like everything that you do for us so far. Yeah, that's true, Demar. That's I really agree with that. That's a true statement.
You gotta like live this shit. You gotta like unless you've been chastised by your family and judged for your decision, you're not a comedian yet. When you actually like start regretting the thought of being a comedian, that's when you've actually become a comedian. When you're like, man, I should just quit this shit. That's
when you start tailoring your hours of your whole life, like your day, what you're doing at noon determined by the stand-up comedy you have to do at night. Like if you can't make that job anymore, you just can't make it. You got to be out till midnight. You got to be out till 2 in the morning. And being out till midnight is ridiculous. You can't make a day job being out till midnight. If you noticed a break in my sentence just a moment ago, it's because we had to pause the podcast to do something else. And wow, that was exciting.
Absolutely. All
right, so we're here with Demar Randy, the Demar Randy Show on Twitter. And we probably thoroughly bored you because we already talked about how long you've been a comedian, man.
Yeah, that's boring shit. Let's talk about some real shit.
Where are you from, Demar? Compton. When I first met you, first of all, you're black. I don't know if they can tell.
I'm a colored fellow.
From listening at home.
They could definitely tell.
And I've noticed with you, more than with several other people, it defines how people relate to you. Like everyone's telling Demar, the black guy, the black, and I go, oh yes, I know Demar. They don't say Demar the good skateboarder. They don't say Demar the bald guy. They say Demar the black guy.
Well, I've gotten comfortable in that. It was a little, when you grow up around black people, we're all black people. It's like we don't define each other like that. But I've gotten comfortable with it. I'm the black guy. Whatever.
Where'd you grow up?
Compton, man.
Compton.
I was born and raised in Compton.
All I know about Compton is scary. And I know it from TV and the movies, and from the rappers, the horrible black people that make the sounds on the records. Man, that's scary.
I mean, Compton has some positive images too, but I don't want to sell those.
I don't mean to say where you're from is scary. I'm sure it's fine.
No,
I'm sure
it's very scary. You shouldn't be there. You know what I mean? Like this, it is. It's America's Iraq.
I'm going to relive a story for the listeners because I know Demar off the podcast, and one night we were at an open mic, and Demar said, "Hey man, you want to give me a ride home tonight?" And I said, "Well, that sounds like something I would do for a friend. Sure. Where do you live?" And you were like, "Oh, we'll just go down. We'll go down Sunset to the 101." And I went, and I went, "Oh, that's East Hollywood. Well, I can do that." So he didn't say anything else, Ari. Are you impressed by the story so far?
Absolutely.
So I get Demar in my car. I drive him down Sunset to the 101. That's not a far drive.
No.
And he goes, let's get on the 101. We'll go a few exits. And I'm like, he's not really being very specific about where he lives. So we spend 20 minutes on the 101 driving down to the 10 freeway, or the 110. The 110. Yeah. And then I take him practically to San Pedro. I'm in the car for an hour. I'm driving, and every 5 minutes I go, how much further do you think it's going to be, Demar? And I don't know Demar really well at this time, and I think that I like to think that this incident put a wedge between whether or not we know each other really well forever.
Nah, you gotta. If I tell you to give me a ride to Compton, that's a little different than if I ask you to give me a ride to my house.
Right, and you know the answer's no.
If I say, can I get a ride to Compton, you're like, no. But if I say, can I get a ride home?
You might as well have said, can you give me a ride to Palmdale?
Right, but I can't do that.
In distance-wise, but then in fear-wise.
Right, but fear would outweigh distance, so I'd rather go with distance.
And then, strangely, I had like a badge of courage for the next week because I was the white guy who drove to Compton at 12 o'clock at night. Ari, it's midnight. It's not whatever. It's midnight, and I dropped Demar off, and it's turning 1 in the morning. I'm driving home. I'm seeing people walk pit bulls on chains on the side of the street, and I survived all of that, so I could tell people later, other white people, I was in Compton at midnight. It was beautiful.
I often give away badges of honor. I've had a few comedians give me a ride home and boast about it on Facebook. I've had Eric Gruber go, yeah, just gave Demar Randy a ride to Compton. And when we got to Compton, he's like, yo, do you mind if I play like some mood music? And I'm like, what do you mean mood music? We're gonna fuck? He's like, no. He's like,
put on Easy E, didn't he? He put on Easy E.
They do it every time. Hey, you mind if I put like some Easy E or like some Dr. Dre on? I'm like, go ahead, fucking cornball.
Yeah. Do you mind if I boil this all down to my white perspective of where you're from and the only thing that I know? I did that too. I can't.
I'm the ambassador. I'm the ambassador for Compton and possibly just ghetto people in general. So I don't mind if I can open up your horizons a little bit and give you something to think about. Most white people don't have a lot of stress anyway. So if you can come to Compton, that'll give you some artificial stress.
Nice. It's nice. And you grew up there, and what's strange to me about a perspective like that is you grew up in Compton, in the heart of Los Angeles, and people think it's an exotic location, but it's where you grew up. You know what I mean? Like, that's the weirdest part to me.
I think the weirdest part is that it's only about 20 minutes from Hollywood.
Right. It's not. Well, no, it's bullshit. I fucking drove you for. We were on there was no traffic.
That's because you were going slow in anticipation of getting off.
I was. Every exit, Ari, every exit I slowed down and go, is this the exit tomorrow? And he'd go, no, it's a little further.
If he was doing like a healthy 75, this is only 20 minutes, but he was doing like 60 in anticipation of getting off at every exit. That's why it took so long. But I couldn't go, it's about 10 exits down. I was just like, we're getting closer. I'm really good with being vague.
It's ridiculous. So the focus being stand-up comedy of the podcast that we're doing from Sal's Comedy Hall here on Melrose. Is it Avenue or Boulevard?
I believe it's Avenue.
Avenue here in Hollywood at Sal's Comedy Hall. The struggle that goes along with getting started and doing stand-up comedy. Of anyone I know, you seem to typify struggling with other aspects of your life.
Oh, most of my life sucks. Stand-up comedy is the only thing that really like heals the pain of my the shit I've done in the streets. So like I really need comedy. Like it's not like this is a hobby or something. Like this keeps like air in my fucking blood.
Right.
Like I die without this shit.
You're one of the guys that I know that consistently maybe his phone isn't working. Maybe it's his phone is shut off.
I usually tell people to write my number down in pencil because
maybe Demar is sleeping at a different place now. Is he in Hollywood? Is he in Compton? Where does he live? All these things, they're always a question about you. How is Demar coming? I don't know. Is he coming tonight? Who knows? And he'll roll up on a skateboard, and you go, "Why is the black guy skating?" I don't understand. Is it even called skating?
I like to keep my life a mystery. I'm really only time I really let people into my life is on stage. Other than that, you really don't know what the fuck's happening with me.
How do day jobs work for you?
I'm more like I wasn't designed for that. I wasn't. My brain wasn't designed. To be like a worker bee, no disrespect to anybody that's a worker bee, because that's a talent within itself. I'm awed at people that can do that. I'm like the way they look at me on stage is the way I look at them at work. I'm like, God damn, look at that, he can do this shit every day. That's crazy.
I had that feeling recently. We had an electrician come in here and string up the lights, and a total deadbeat of a human being, like a real guy that you wouldn't trust with like $5 or whatever. But he's got a skill, and it's like, how do you learn that? And where does it come? Ari, you must get a sense for that, right?
I have no idea.
I'm so amazed with regular people. Like regular people are celebrities to me. Like they're like, I'm like, God damn, man, you're like the man over here, Rouse Braun. I know I can get through here quick if I go through your line.
Like a mortician, like someone that goes to work, and it's just a bizarre thing you have to learn at some school, and you have to do it well, and you're like, what you do that every day
like,
for your life, for your whole life, and then one day you die, and then some other mortician comes in. And
I'm really bad with like with jobs, like especially like when I was working at the I don't know if I can mention it, but the Roosevelt.
He was working at a fancy hotel,
a five-star hotel.
I've been there
here in Hollywood. They gave me a shot, and they were asking the assistant cook. He came in and berated me in front of everybody, but I didn't like the posture that he did. He did it in a threatening posture. I was like, you can't do that to me, man. I'm right on the edge of life. Like you can't approach me like that.
You can't berate a comic at work because he'll quit. You can't berate a guy from Compton at work because he'll knock you out.
Yeah,
so you had that moment where you said, well, who am I right now?
Yeah, I knew exactly who I was right then. I was like, I am not a worker. That's what I am.
That's the struggle. It is tough. Listen, I worked at and I hate to say this about myself, but I worked at the Cheesecake Factory for a long time as a server. And I still technically work there, even though I haven't been there in 3 months. And so to be here and doing comedy all the time, we have this computer releasing thing where you can release your shift and someone else will pick it up. I never quit that job. I just log on every week. I look at my schedule and I release all the shifts and someone else works them. So I'm technically employed even though I don't do employment well. Ari, you don't have a job, right?
I have no job.
The Cheesecake Factory seems to have hired almost everybody in Hollywood.
They'll hire anyone.
Everybody in Hollywood's worked at the Cheesecake Factory.
They are the McDonald's of people that can brush their hair. That's all they are. They will take anyone that walks in off the street if you can brush your hair before you walk in off the street. That's all it is.
If you can utilize a little hair gel, they got
You're there. You're in. We'll train you to do anything. All right, so you're what? An intern somewhere?
I'm an intern 2 days a week at Laugh Stub. They run the ticketing service.
Comedy tickets.
That's right.
Wow.
I also just interviewed at the Hollywood Improv.
Right.
The Comedy Store has showed an interest in me for the same position.
He's giving shout-outs for interviews.
I see what he's doing here.
Nice.
So, yeah, if you're listening to this Hollywood Improv, I am waiting to hear back on the position. Let me know.
Speaking of Hollywood Improv, I'm so in love with Paige. She's so good.
Paige over at the Hollywood Improv?
Yeah.
She's with the pointy shoes?
Yeah.
Girl with the pointy shoes?
She's got like this.
She's sweet.
She'll never hear it, but she's got a
she'll never
body.
listen to this.
She's got a banging body, and she's so sweet. I love her fashion sense.
So speaking of women, Demar, how has comedy changed your life in terms of women? How do you treat women, or how do you perceive women, or how?
Well, I've always treated women like they weren't shit, so it just made it easier because now I have more of what they want,
Now you have a reason to treat them like shit. You have more of what they want from doing comedy?
Yeah, because now I'm certified in the 1% of funny guys. Like if you tell me you want a funny guy, I'm in the 1% of funny people on the planet.
Wait, you're in the 1% of funny people or the 1% of people?
1% of funny people. I'm not in the 1%.
That's putting yourself in rarefied air, Demar.
But I mean, you're in the 1% of funny people too. It's not really that. It's if you're actually funny and you're grinding in Hollywood, there's only about 2, maybe 300-400 guys that are really fucking doing this shit every day. That's not a lot of people when you consider the amount of people on the planet. We're in the 1% of funny.
Yeah, you eventually. It's weird about doing stand-up comedy in Hollywood, and it's the same in New York, I hear. But you boil the entire city of millions of people live in this city down to 400 faces that you see over and over and over again. And you say, oh well, there's Liam and there's Chuck and there's Dave. I know all those guys, and you can see them on the street, and you immediately have a familiarity.
Right, because it's not that. It's really not that. I mean. Getting your dreams accomplished is really not that. It's not as daunting as you think, Because let's say there's 5 million people who just want to be famous, right? But out of those 500 people, 2.5 of those people are never going to put any action towards it, right?
It'll just be a thought.
Right. So then now you're down to 2.5 million people, right? And then out of those 2.5 million people, they only live in the Midwest or anywhere outside of Los Angeles and New York, and they're never going to make the move.
And there's a whole percentage of people that give up once the struggle becomes just a little bit. Just
right.
People that find out that they weren't funny, because we're all not funny when we start. Everyone that starts stand-up comedy is not funny.
I disagree. I started off funny. Then I fell off a cliff for a little bit.
No. But listen, bad stand-up comedy is not funny.
Yeah.
So if you were doing it badly when you started, whether you were getting laughs or not, you were not funny. Because
I was getting lucky.
You couldn't replicate yourself.
No, I couldn't. I was getting lucky. Yeah,
so
I was getting lucky.
That's not funny.
It's funny, but it's not stand-up comedy.
The funniest set I ever saw was a guy completely bomb in the belly room. It was the most hilarious thing, and it's why I tell people that start that there's no mystery to it. You're going to do badly for a long time, and then you'll come up with some sort of thing about yourself that is funny, and you'll bring it out. But this guy, he was like 6'8", red-haired. I've never seen him since. That was his last time doing comedy. But he took some kind of class, and he got up for his 5-minute set. And I thought he was doing a bit, because he got up and he went, and I thought he was doing a bit, and I was ready to fucking laugh. And he started like scratching his chin and looking at the ceiling and looking at the floor. And a minute passed. He hadn't said anything but
wow.
And then his girlfriend from the back of the room, his girlfriend in the back of the room yells. She yells, "Do the one about the truck!"
She had an accent.
And did it help him? No. You saw his eyes go to panic mode. His eyes burst open, flash-eyed, and he was like, He didn't say anything. He got off at 3 minutes. He hadn't said a word except for his name. I applauded because it was hilarious. It was hilarious, but he wasn't trying to do that. And that's how a new person can be funny without trying to do. Now, if fucking I don't know, somebody that does bits. Yeah. If somebody that does bits got up and went, there would be a point and a purpose, and he could replicate it the next night. But when you're new, whether funny or not, you can't replicate yourself, and therefore you can't actually be good at.
Have you heard my Marlon Wayne story?
No.
There's this kid who's brand new, first day ever doing comedy. He was fired up. You know, he's like, we were at Marty's. We're hanging out at Marty's, and we're in the back patio, and this guy, he's fired up, right? He's like a young black kid. He's probably like 19. Mm-hmm. He's like, man, maybe this would be the thing that gets me out of the hood. You know what I mean? I can see the sparkle in his eye, and he's like, yo, I'm gonna just do my thing, man. I'm like, yo, like I tell every new comic, I'm like, you gotta work hard at this, you know. I'm like, this is not a one-day thing, you know. And I'm like, you get your shot at some point, but make sure you're ready for it. And he's like, all right, man. I'm like, so let me see what you got, you know. And he gets up on stage. As he gets up on stage, Marlon Wayne walks in the patio, right? Marlon, Damon Jr.
Damon Jr.
Yeah,
Marlon.
Marlon's. I think Shane was with him. Marlon's whole little crew walks in, and this guy's fucking eyes just light up. He's not even used to seeing Marlon Wayans. You know? So he's like, oh fuck, this is my chance, right? You can see it in his face.
Show business.
He had nothing. You can see I've never seen anybody's like face and soul like just die in front of me like he did with him. He's like, oh man, I fucked up. Yeah. After Marlon left, he's like, man, I fucked up, man. That was my shot. I'm like, dog, you're gonna get so many fucking shots.
People don't understand that. I'm not going to say her name, but this girl she was crying about how nervous she was to open the parlor for Jay Davis last night, Monday night. She was really, really nervous and racking. I didn't go down to see how well she did, but you're opening for 5 minutes. Yeah. And people act like one good set is going to somehow open the doors to everything else, and that's not the case. When the sets start doing that is when you're not ridiculously nervous before them. It's when you've got years more of work. Don't even worry about it. No one's going to remember you.
You know what, James, though? my best sets are when I'm ridiculously nervous. You know that when I
no, there's a difference. You're nervous about how you're gonna do.
Yeah.
You're not nervous over what you're gonna say.
Okay,
It's different. You're nervous over how you're gonna do. You feel performance anxiety. Everyone does before you start. It's my biggest thing too. I'm ridiculously funny, Ari. I don't know if you know that about me.
I've never seen you do stand-up.
I'm ridiculously funny.
Are you as funny as me?
Oh, I'm 10 times funnier than. What's your funniest thing? Just think on a scale of 1 to 10. Like, have you been an 8 yet?
10.
You've never been a 10.
12.
This guy can't be honest. I'm gonna have him on my podcast. Okay, if Louis C.K. Doing the thing is a 10, what's on a scale of 1 to 10? What have you hit so far? What is your personal achievement?
I don't want to judge myself on here.
Okay. Well.
Thank you though. Thank you for the question.
He's the one that told us no one would listen to this, by the way, and he just want to open up and be honest.
I think this is pretty interesting stuff.
Yeah, we've derailed my point. My point being is I'm always a 10. Already.
Yes.
I'm always a. Of course not. I just told you the scale. I think I consistently hit a pretty good number.
I feel like mine's are like usually at like a 3. But
yeah, like a 3
my
or
3
4.
is my 3 is still a lot of people's 10, but.
My 3 is a lot. No, we're talking about putting the years in and with anticipation. Someday you'll be at that magical 10, and people will want to film you and record you, and they'll want to buy tickets to see you. That's a 10. What's your best so far? Are you out of the ones?
Yeah, of course. But I think you're I think we disagree. First of all, you've never seen me do stand-up, and you already think of me as a shitty stand-up comedian.
I think you're a good stand-up comedian.
Secondly,
I think you take podcasts too personally because you.
Secondly, no, you think I suck and that I'm not, and I don't go to Marty's and I don't have a lot of experience. Secondly,
he has a chip on his shoulder. A bad chip.
Secondly,
that happens when you get a website.
Do you know some
he's probably getting like 30,000 visitors.
Oh, that'd be awesome. I wish.
Awesome. The other guy's got a stand-up comedy website. I won't say his name, but he's kind of cocky for.
Oh man, yeah, I know who you're talking about.
You know what's interesting is some people can banter.
Yeah.
And have fun with bantering and making fun of each other, and some people just can't. There's a chip on Ari. You have that chip.
I disagree.
Can't banter.
But also,
he protects that chip like
you think everything I said about you is personal. I'm just tossing it to our funny producer there and waiting for you to say something deadpan. That's all.
Yeah, you're like the red band right
but
now.
I got did you just? Yeah, he was like the red.
He's a red band.
Did you just see his eyes though? And people at home, he looked like he wanted to kill me. He's clammed up for the last 15 minutes, and I've made fun of him a little bit.
I disagree with you on that as well. Secondly, I think Louis C.K. is very funny, one of my favorite comedians. But I don't think that cameras wanting to be around him is because he's so funny. I think it's because of all his repertoire of experience and resume.
You know what?
What an interestingly boring critique of Louis C.K.
But
I don't mean to pick on you, Ari, but you say things. You're 23, right?
23 years old.
You're
yes.
overthinking. You're saying you think that there's the words have meaning. They don't have meaning. You're just stringing together sentences, and hopefully some point is made.
Can I be honest about C.K. if I don't mind?
Yeah.
Please be honest about Louis C.K. Demar Randy.
Nah, I mean like. I wasn't a fan. I'm still not quite a fan. Like he doesn't do it for me.
Well, yeah, comedy is subjective.
Right.
I think he's wickedly hilarious, and I love his TV.
He gets some good points off sometimes, but I think I was uncomfortable with even liking him because like I know a lot of like racist comedians who just worship his ground, and I was like, I'm not gonna fucking listen to him. I don't like the people who like him.
All right, well then that leads to a question: who's your favorite comedian?
Martin Lawrence.
Okay, I like Martin Lawrence a little bit. All right, who's your favorite comedian?
Ooh, tough question. I will say, as of lately, who I've been listening to the most lately.
Yeah, who's your favorite?
Is Louis C.K.
Louis C.K. But he just said it's not so funny.
I did not say. I said I think he's he's one of my favorite comedians. I said, but the reason why I think cameras follow him is not because of how funny he is, because that's not how Hollywood works. It works on your experience.
You know who my other favorite comedian is Jamar Neighbors is my favorite comedian.
Jamar is wickedly hilarious.
Between Jamar and Martin Lawrence, my comedy's pretty much satisfied. Like my comedy, bug is pretty much fulfilled right
So
there.
Jamar's your
That's
favorite
good.
underground.
That's
Well,
good.
Jamar Neighbors is he's been like a mentor to me. You know, like because he's the only other comedian who, first off, I think is funny. Second, understands the struggle that I'm going through with stand-up comedy because we're both from Compton.
Interesting.
So when I'm dealing with something, there's only one person who will understand exactly what I'm talking about.
That is so interesting because I would think that you wouldn't even talk to Jamar. I've never seen the two of you hanging out.
We always hang out.
You always hang out. So
Yeah.
when you hang out with me, it's because Jamar personally dislikes me that he's not hanging around.
Jamar doesn't dislike you.
No, I didn't know that he does. I'm just saying, like, me and you, we hang out a little bit,
Yeah.
right? Not outside of comedy, of course.
No, of
Like,
course not.
listen, that would be stupid
that's
on all
yeah.
levels.
Yeah.
You and Jamar hang out, but I don't know that. And so I hang out with you a little bit. That's ridiculous.
Well, I mean, I don't. Again, my personal life is pretty private, so you wouldn't know that. But
I get it.
I still don't hang out with a lot of comedians. It's probably Jamar Neighbors, maybe Jeremy Scipio and
Jared Levin. You can't forget the great
Jared Levin's my man. So those it's real like rare guys. And then
Jeremy
me and Jared
Scipio.
hanging out is kind of weird too.
Jeremy Scipio, So Jamar Neighbors and Jeremy Scipio, two guys who I think that you don't even hang out with at all. You're hanging out with them all the time.
Well, you know what? Just the way I hang out with you. There's a lot of I hang out with a lot of people who are opposite from me too. Like even though Jeremy Scipio is black, we're like total opposites. So I kind of enjoy that.
I'm not commenting on race. I'm just saying
No, not even that, but just like different mentalities. I like to be around them.
Comedy is weird because you discover that there are cliques and there are friendships that you wouldn't imagine existed. You wouldn't imagine whatever. And Jared Levin's a perfect example of that. I know we're making this podcast very difficult to listen to for people in Iowa. Ari, could you monitor that from now on if we're getting difficult in Iowa?
You're getting difficult in Iowa.
All right, that's the.
So let's move this along. That's ridiculous. All right, so at Sal's on Melrose, we have a big showcase show coming up Monday, March 4th. It's going to be. Listen, we're a full-time comedy club starting in March. Ari, I want you to mark that on the calendar.
Alrighty.
And we're going to have comics that are going to do showcase shows just like everywhere else in the attempt to pass. And once you pass, then you're going to be a paid regular here at Sal's Comedy Hall. We're hoping by the end of the summer we get at least 3 people to pass. So that means killing at the open mic, killing on the showcase shows, being invited back to do another showcase show because of your... also, the prize for winning the showcase shows, you open on Friday and Saturday night for whoever the pros are coming in.
Sounds pretty good.
That's not terrible, is it, Ari?
Sounds like one of the best up-and-coming comedy clubs in Hollywood.
You're the best. Have I told you you're the best lately?
Yeah.
Every day.
Ari, you are the best. Ari, do you do the mic here, Ari?
I've done it before, but not regularly.
Not regularly. Can we add to your repertoire? Can your Rolodex? What am I trying to say?
I will try to make time for
Put it on
the
calendar. Twice
the
a
calendar.
week. Do Sal's.
Twice a week, do Sal's.
I started here at Sal's.
Yeah, you were hosting for a while.
I was here for the Sal's before
The
this
small stage.
Sal's. Yeah.
Right. And how about the La Brea?
Yeah, I should pop through there too.
Pop through the La Brea.
I've grown with Sal. Me and Sal have a long history.
I hope people at home know that when I'm saying Sal's Comedy Hole, a lot of people in their minds will have this tiny little stage that was in a tiny little room in a restaurant.
And they would still be correct if they had.
They would not.
No, it is a big room.
What we've
it's
done
a pretty awesome
is
room.
we've renovated and we can now fit. It's bigger than a lot of rooms in this city, and we can now fit a lot of people in this room for a real stage with a real mic, with a real spotlight, with a real soundboard, with a real Jewish guy doing my tech. It's great.
Yeah, this is
good.
getting legit, because this is probably about 2 times the size of the belly room.
It is. I would say twice the bigger.
Yeah.
Maybe even 3.
It's got bigger floor space in front of the stage. It's got a bigger stage.
Yeah,
Yep.
and it looks like something you can only be invited to, which is it looks awesome once you're like, oh, I got invited to this. This is
shit.
You're like, oh yeah, there's a comedy club behind the restaurant. Just go around the hall there, and you'll see. And you're like, oh fuck, this is gonna be shady. And then you walk into something gorgeous.
Yeah,
It's legitimate.
It's a speakeasy. It's what's down the alley here? A full bar?
Yeah.
What the hell? What's going on? Cocktail waitresses and everything. These girls
Yeah,
are pretty too.
that's what we need next. Hot waitresses.
We got hot waitresses.
You got them. Okay.
We're not allowed to say hot waitresses though if I'm their employer. So we have nice young ladies that will be taking care of
Okay,
the
great.
drink order.
That's good.
I don't know. You guys might need to up the scale of hot in here.
I haven't seen them.
We're doing it.
You gotta up the scale of hot. You know,
We're doing it.
You know,
First of all,
make hot a little more. You know,
we're doing it. I'm gonna shave every day. I'm committed to losing 5 pounds. You know, so that's gonna make a big difference right there.
Are we creating
I
skimpy
think
uniforms?
Maybe you should walk around with a mask on. That'll really, bring the level of attractiveness up in here.
That's nice. That's very nice of you to say. You know the Charles Dorner, the cop that went crazy. Is it Charles Dorner or?
Yeah, he's my twin.
He does. He looks a lot like you.
Fatter version of you.
He's fatter. The Dorner guy.
He looked bigger, right? Thicker.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
Demar's ripped. You're pretty muscly, right?
Yeah, I'm about 220, man.
Yeah,
I don't look like it though.
You
Really?
could go on a kill
How
crazy
tall are you?
rampage.
Huh?
How tall are you?
I'm 5'11".
Yeah, he's got muscle
Damn.
over there.
I'm a big guy. You know.
Do you lift or you just have that black natural muscle?
Yeah, I just have that. I have those nigger muscles, man. They I didn't do anything for them.
I didn't say that. I did not.
Nigger muscle.
I didn't say that.
Hey, you like how James tried to squeeze his nigger in there?
Hey,
He's like,
listen.
hey, look, we're talking about it. Let me squeeze it.
I said that. I said that should be a product. You said it again. I wanted to reiterate that you buy it in a tube at GNC and you rub it into your biceps.
Nah, it should be something you have to inject intravenously.
No. Tube. GNC. Rub it into your biceps.
Nigger muscles.
See how I was resisting saying it again?
We'll sell it on Stand Up Talk. We'll sell it on the podcast.
Yeah,
They're our sponsor.
Yeah. Well,
But I'm not going to say it.
Are you feeling white and Jewish? Are you feeling
now, Ari, when I first met you, you said that there were a series of words that you would say that you would. Wasn't he the kid out on the patio telling us that he would say? Was that you?
I do not believe it was me. Does not sound like me.
Wasn't there a kid on the patio at Marty's that was telling us that he was going to say the N-word, he was going to say whatever because it's freedom of speech?
I dare him.
No, I don't say that word.
You don't?
Unless there's no black people around.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's the way the rest of the world does it.
You can do whatever you like in secret, Don't ask, don't tell when it comes to the nigger word,
But no, I would never say it on stage, especially, or on a microphone.
You would never say it into a microphone.
That's right. Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm kind of I feel good about you then. I think that you're probably a nice.
But I will say I don't like Jewish people.
Me neither.
Why
I
would
really
you say
hate.
that being
I just
so clearly Jewish.
That's why.
Self-hate. Everybody has a little self-hate.
I just yeah, I'm a self-hating Jew. I've never dated a Jewish girl.
Why not? Jewish girls.
Probably because my mom is Jewish.
Yeah.
Don't like her.
She's gross. You don't like your mom? I like your mom.
I
I don't
don't.
even know
love
her.
her.
That's where the comedy comes from. The mom hate.
Does your mom have a mustache?
No mustache. You probably would love her. She's an attractive older lady.
Then what's the problem? Why do you dislike your mom?
You want to get into that?
Yeah, I want to
okay.
find out what's behind Ari's comedy.
Well, your mom. You see when he says he doesn't like his mom, it's really it's gonna be really small, boring shit to me.
It will. It's
It'll
not
be
going to be entertaining.
She made me pick up my tennis shoes.
Yeah.
I just never liked her. She sent me in military school.
She got rid of my horse when I was 12.
She lies to me. She's a liar.
Gonna get a Porsche.
She's out.
I got all A's.
She's out to get me.
I got all A's and I didn't get that.
She's out to get
I got
me.
with some shitty BMW.
Oh, I
She
wish.
sent you to military school.
I have a
remember
Pontiac.
we talked about this. Ari was sent away for like 11 months out of the year for 2 years.
That's right.
For 2 years.
That's right. Yeah.
And it changed you into a better man.
It was good.
I would think that the people that went to military school would learn how to do push-ups.
I could do.
Would make that
I could do 60 push-ups.
every day.
I could right now. Yeah.
That is 58 more than I can do at any moment. At any moment. How come?
I could beat that.
Yeah, I'm sure you could. You're a 220-pound black guy.
Why does it have to be black? Can I just have?
This keeps happening to me as I age. People like Jared Levin and you, Ari, will say how many push-ups or whatever they can do.
You asked.
And I know clearly I can do many less. I'm not as strong as these people.
I think a lot of weak guys use their push-up count as some type of
Yeah, I don't think I'm strong. I don't think I'm
what
strong.
What I do in my head is I still can't shake the image of me kicking their ass if we were ever in a fight.
Because
I go, no, well, I'm probably going to be able to kick your ass. But probably not if you can do 60 push-ups.
And I took some ground combat classes in military school.
Class.
But
see, I didn't take a second of that.
Yeah. But
I had brothers; they would whip my ass.
But I don't. But that
white people would take unarmed defense classes because it's unnecessary.
Yeah, I've never.
At the end of the day,
I'll say this: I've only been in one real fight in my whole life. Yeah.
It was me and 4 chicks, and we learned how not to get mugged. It was really good.
That's really what it. That's really all it is.
Was it Krav?
I got my ass beat
was it
too
Krav
in that one real
Maga?
fight.
Was it Krav?
Is that the Jewish one?
That's the Jewish. That's the
No.
Israeli defense.
No, this was an American defense course. It was mixed martial arts.
Oh, sounds awesome. A UFC sort of thing where you learn.
Comparable comparable in that there's not. Yeah, it's not geared towards one type of karate.
And then I come out. I pull a gun out on him right after he gets out of class. Like, oh, they didn't teach you about this yet.
We also shot guns twice a week.
Wow.
Shot rifles and pistols. That's
I
why it
didn't
was
do.
a good experience overall.
Well, anyway, I was talking about the cops, the Charles Dorner that went crazy.
Yeah.
What were we talking about before Ari?
You know what happened? You were setting up for
they
a
look
joke
alike.
and I fucked it up.
They
no,
look
you
alike.
said you looked like.
Yeah,
that's
right.
I was setting up for a joke.
You were setting up for a joke.
No, I was setting up for a point about people that went crazy. I think, and then we were gonna.
I really cheer for Charles Dorner. That's super nigga for me. You know, like I was happier.
Oh, you're rooting for him.
You told
You're
me
rooting
I
for
should
him.
wear a mask. I get it. I'm that guy. So they had a rally downtown of like 12 people.
Yeah.
That want the truth to come out about the Dorner case. And they were wearing those masks from that bad movie No One Can Sit Through, but now, do you know what I'm talking about, those masks?
Dead presidents?
No, V for Vendetta.
Oh, yeah.
They wear masks in V for Vendetta, like that movie, which is terrible. Is by the people.
You didn't like that movie?
You know,
nobody likes that.
I love that movie.
I don't watch movies, man.
V for Vendetta is one of my favorite movies.
So they're wearing those masks downtown, and they're screaming at the buildings, tell the truth about Dorner. And then like they'll stop and they'll interview these 12 people, and they'll say, oh, well, he probably his back was against the wall. I think the whole world is going fucking crazy. He killed a bunch of people, right?
I'm for Dorner.
How are you for a guy that killed the poor girl and the fiance in the parking lot?
I'm for the backstory. As long as you have a justifiable reason to kill somebody, I'm for you.
Really? And your justifiable reason?
Yeah, that was totally justifiable.
Is that you lost your job?
No, it's not that he lost his job. It's that especially me being African American male,
right? And you
knowing how much they've fucked with me.
I know how much they fucked.
So
with
for me to hear that somebody's fucking them in the ass for a little bit, it's fucking like the rabbits got the gun per se. That speaks to my soul.
We're entering a stage in evolution where people buy into every conspiracy theory and every idea, so that every crazy person that comes along, there's a whole mess of just they're just.
But it's not a conspiracy theory. He was actually a cop, and he actually experienced those things, and then he wrote it down. So it'd be different in this little manifesto, but that'd be different if he did.
Did you read his manifesto?
Of course I read the manifesto.
He's genuinely crazy.
Because the articulation in there was. It was justifiable. I was like, all right, cool. He's not totally crazy.
Justifiable. He's giving shout outs to people he sees on American Idol, and it's justifiable that he kills people after that.
Look.
He's
Anytime
telling you
you're
his
gonna
favorite
snap,
movie.
there's gonna be a little bit. Obviously, when you snap, it's a little crazy, but as long as he has some substance behind his crazy, and there was substance there.
There was no substance. He
go
went
Donner,
crazy.
bro. I tweeted at Donner that he could stay at my house.
He has a Twitter account?
He favorited my tweet. Right before he killed
That'd be
himself.
funny if he did that right before he went crazy.
No,
he made a Twitter account.
He actually favorited mine.
That's nice. That's very nice of him.
Fuck LAPD, man.
Well, listen, I get that, but I don't get then rallying behind someone who goes crazy and kills a bunch of people that are. And even if you were to go crazy and kill like 10 LAPD officers because you feel that you're wrong, you're in the wrong.
White people never understand.
And I shouldn't, because
if there was a white guy that went crazy killing black people, and he had a really good reason.
You mean like the guy in the subway in New York?
Yeah. You'd be like, you know what? I can understand. You'd understand, but because you don't feel the pain of the annoyance of that particular party, you have no idea how good it feels to know that somebody's sticking it in their ass for once.
I thought what he was doing was wrong, but I always
root. Did you think that, Ari?
But I always root for the underdog, so I was rooting for him.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It's going wrong with our world. We're losing some semblance of knowing that a crazy person killing people is crazy.
Yeah.
We're losing that, and I think it all started with The Matrix. For God's sake.
I like the movie Shooter a lot.
Yeah, you like a lot of sick shit.
Yeah.
And you feel homicide is justifiable if there's and your reasoning behind it is getting smaller and smaller. So every time there's one of these mass shootings, we're gonna have a demonstration now where people are like pining over the dead killer, and that's wrong.
No, I mean I can see when something's wrong. Like I know the kid in what was that, Connecticut?
Colorado.
Yeah,
that was
Colorado.
Connecticut. Colorado was the movie theater.
Yeah.
Got it.
Whatever. That was out of line. But
a little bit.
Was that out of line?
Just a little.
Well,
but,
thanks for your seal of approval.
Killing cops, killing bad cops.
He
cops?
He didn't kill bad cops. He killed the daughter of some dude, and the fiance of that daughter, and he killed a fish and game guy.
Oh, good.
A guy.
Fish and game always fucks up a good time.
I want to protect the rivers and trees, so I'm going to be a half forest ranger, half cop.
He's not protecting the rivers and the trees. He's pulling people over in their boats for driving drunk.
Thank you.
He's not protecting
Thank
the
you,
trees.
because
He has nothing to do.
If I'm out on a jet ski, I don't want to get run over by the drunk people. I'm all for fish and game cops.
Can you even call them fish and game cops? It's just fish and game.
I'm all for fish and game. I don't know. I think we've exhausted the subject of the
Dorner.
Dorner, and
I think we got some good stuff on Dorner.
Yeah, we got some good stuff on Dorner.
There'll be some YouTube
what is
highlights.
Our time at?
We are at about an hour, including the previous segment that's going to go on the outro.
Let's find another topic, and we can.
Well, what we're going to do is we're going to shut it down.
Okay,
I like shut down.
Voice.
I want to.
I think
because an hour is way too much for
you think
a podcast. Yeah.
Nah,
really?
Man, I don't think it's enough.
I think you could hit one more.
Yeah, after you edit and chop.
Oh no, we're not doing a lot of that.
We're not doing.
But not even a lot of that. But if you just after you put it together and you chop it a little bit, just even a little bit, it's going to be down to like 45.
Probably not.
He's not.
I don't have that much effort.
Ari he's doing, how many podcasts are you doing? Like 6 or something ridiculous?
Right now, I think we're at 3.
This is his identity.
There.
He goes around, helps people set up their equipment, and acts as the Red Band.
The Red Band. He's
a little bit. I have a funny story I could tell you about
please,
Red Band.
Tell us a funny story.
Yeah,
Friday night, me and Red Band were hanging out on the patio of the Comedy Store, and he was blackout drunk.
Wow.
And 3 chicks were walking by, so we hollered at them, of course. And they came over, and we were talking. They were taking pictures with us and stuff. Got one of their phone numbers. We're going to go on a double date.
You and Red Band are going to go on a double date?
We were. That was the plan that night.
You guys still take chicks on dates? At this point in your career, like I don't have to take chicks on dates anymore.
Yeah, so I get her number.
This is a funny story about Red Band.
Oh,
I add her.
Funny part.
I add her on Facebook. She's in high school. The girls are in high school. That's the funny part. Yeah. They're high schooler girls.
Yeah, we were talking about that earlier outside. And I think in our test show, Ari, I think I explored the fact that you lost your virginity very late.
I was 17.
17.
Yeah.
And so you never really got to know like good 14-year-old pussy. You never.
This girl is 18 though.
Can I make a confession?
So I'm gonna smash it.
At 18.
Really?
Yeah, I did.
I wouldn't buy that for a second.
I did, but I did. I lost it at 18.
What is wrong in Compton? That makes no sense.
Well, when you're trying to survive, vag is one of the last things on your mind when food, water, and housing are.
Demar, Randy, I
scarce.
thought the trade-off. My whole white life, growing up, I thought the trade-off of living in the ghetto meant you started having sex when you were 12 or 13.
I mean, maybe for most people, but for me, I'm an exception to a lot of things anyway.
I'm shocked. Demar, if I were to flip a coin on whether or not that was truthful, I don't know whether I'd pick heads or tails in any given situation.
Red Band is no longer going on the double date if you want an 18-year-old girl.
Oh yeah, I love 18-year-old girls. I stop where the law tells me.
That's the thing too. You have to stop exactly where the law tells you.
And sometimes I went over that a little bit, but listen, I've made exceptions for mature looking.
That was the creepiest thing I've ever heard. The combination of Ari saying,
hey, I've got an
18-year-old. She's got friends.
Yeah. I don't mind an 18-year-old.
All right, I think we've exhausted the first podcast.
That's a good word.
What's
a good
the
place to
name
end
of the podcast, Ari?
Sal's Comedy Hole Podcast.
Sal's Comedy Hole Podcast.
I like Sal's Comedy Hole Podcast.
I've been your host, James, and hopefully we're going to grow an audience for this thing and let you know about who's coming on upcoming shows. Hopefully you're going to go out to Demar Randy Show on Twitter and find out where he's
hit me up
performing.
on Twitter at Demar Randy Show, and I got a skateboard line coming out very soon.
Got a skate line coming up. A black guy with a skate line. Demar's ridiculous because he took up skateboarding. How old were you? 25, 26?
Yeah,
he was in his late 20s when he took it, and I pulled him aside and I said, Demar, listen, two things. You can't start skateboarding now. You're too old, and you're too black. And the combination is bad. And he goes, oh, bro, I love it. It's so good, bro. I love it. It's great. I go, all right, great. 2 months later, Demar strolls in with a torn ACL, limping and crutches. And I go, Demar, what happened? I was coming down the hill right here, and I flipped off my board, and he can't walk for a year.
No, it was like 2 months.
6 months of not walking. I've never had ACL surgery because of skateboarding, and that's exactly what I told you would happen.
That happens even after you've been doing it.
I'm not a quitter, James. If I try something, I'm in. When I bought the skateboard, the guy told me injuries are a part of skateboarding.
Yeah,
and I was like,
it's true.
All right.
Skateboarding is one of those thrills in life that you learn when you're 12, when it's good to fall down and get back up.
Well, look,
I still fall.
Have a childhood, okay? So I'm gonna experience the things that I missed as a child now, and I'm going to Disneyland.
James, are you saying you want us to buy you a skateboard?
I'm saying start with softball, you losers. You learn softball instead of skateboarding or jet skiing. Those are things you learn when you're a teenager and you do them as an adult for fun. Ugh.
We'll buy you a skateboard if that's what you're trying to say.
You know what? Now I'm going to be skateboarding across the country very soon. And good thing I don't listen to people like James, because I wouldn't have a skateboard line. I wouldn't have I wouldn't be able to skate across America.
I hope your skate line is fantastic. And Ari, do you have any sort of plug to tell about yourself?
You could find me at arimannis.com, ARIMANNIS.com.
He spelled it for everybody.
Such a creepy
you
voice.
Can find the creep at creepyarimannis.com. We're going to see you on the next Sal's I'm James Quinn, by the way. We're going to see you on the next Sal's Comedy Hole podcast.
What's your Twitter, James?
I don't worry about any of that. I'm just going to host
at James Quinn.
He's going to turn into the Patrice O'Neill of the show.
I'm just going to host this. I'm not worried about that.
He's resisting resisting technology.
I don't need. Oh, listen, I got a phone.
All right, what's your phone number?
He's got a Nokia with a.
So thank you, everybody. Come see a show at Sal's Friday, Saturday nights in March. We're going to have great headliners here. Let's keep doing these podcasts and let's keep having fun.
Sal's Comedy Hole, bitch.
The world will always welcome lovers as time goes